All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode 49 of the Ricky Henderson of podcast, the greatest of all podcasts, the GUAP. I'm your host, Alex Espinoza. And yes, summertime is here. I was at the A's game on Sunday against the Angels, and it was a good time. Even though it was a boring game, it was still a really good time at the Coliseum. It's just like the weather was perfect. Like, I don't know. There's just something about day games at the Coliseum. I'll never get tired of them. So yeah, I'm going to be doing another series recap. I'm going to be try to be doing this all season long. After every series, do a little, 30-minute breakdown of what just happened, weave in some audio from Mark Kotze and other players. And I'm a little slack and I'm a day behind. It's Tuesday morning now. I should have put this out yesterday. Should have put this out Monday morning, but here we are. It's all good. We'll make it through. It's hard to have a social life and do this stuff at the same time. So make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at RickyBlog and YouTube as well. Still kind of bummed I can't do highlights. The Twitter police knocked on the door this year and they were like, hey, can't be doing highlights. And I didn't want to get DMCA to get the account shut down. So figured I'd just play it cool. No more highlights this year, unfortunately. So the YouTube and the Twitter are not nearly as fun, but whatever. Maybe one day I'll get back into it if I move to another country or something and they can't get me. Anyways, so yeah, Sunday was a great day. Before the game, I actually stopped by this place called Broadside Local near Brooklyn Basin, which I would really recommend. I actually heard about it because the Oakland 68s put their fan fest on, before the season at Brooklyn Basin, and I drove by. I saw, oh, this is a cool little German beer house, bratwurst house, right on the water. Definitely recommend it. It's just a few exits down away from the game, but unfortunately I was late to Sunday's game and I missed Otani's dinger, so that wasn't fun. But the 4-game set, the A's had another another 4-game set over 3 days because of a doubleheader. There were a lot of Angels fans there, but the A's averaged over 12,000 fans for the 4-game set, which is pretty good for the A's. Over 50,000 fans came through, so that's pretty good. And also, I don't know if you guys noticed, but Dave Kaval has not tweeted since Cinco de Mayo, which is probably a good thing. I feel like whenever he tweets, it's usually bad for the brand. So maybe that's helping too. Fans are just coming out because Kaval is tweeting and putting bad spin on everything. So, so yeah, the A's have played 7 games in 5 days, including Tuesday's doubleheader in Detroit. But this was a pretty rough series, folks. They lost 3 of 4. They were feeling good coming into it because they had won 4 or 5 in Detroit. But, only scored 6 runs in the whole 4-game series, and 3 of them came on a single swing by walk-off homer by Luis Barrera, which really salvaged the whole series. So forgive my ignorance, but I had no idea that the Angels were so good. Been pretty hyper-focused, tunnel focused on the A's. I know they came in with a record of about 21-11, I believe, something like that. But you could argue that after this series, they're the best offense in the American League. So after Sunday's game, they were first in the American League in runs, hits, homers, slugging, OPS. They have a team OPS of 119, and they rank second in batting average and on-base percentage. And meanwhile, the A's might have the worst offense in the American League. They are last in batting average, last in on-base, last in slugging, second to last in hits and strikeouts. And when I'm watching the A's at this point, I feel like it's almost like you're doing player evaluation for the future. It's like, yeah, this guy might not be good now, but does he have the potential to be good at some point in the next year or two? So pretty much when I'm watching the A's, that's how I'm approaching it. It's like I feel like we're doing player evaluation, player development at the big league level. So still great vibes. And it all started on Friday night, and the A's lost 2-0. And I thought it would be a really small crowd because, the Warriors were playing that night. And they could close out the Grizzlies, but about 14,000 people showed up. I think it was 13,992. So basically 8 people shy of 14,000. And watching it, the replay on the broadcast, it was funny. You could just hear music bumping out of the treehouse like the whole time. It's like P-Lo and Too Short and whatever. It's just like a constant party out there. It's just like slowly in the background, like lowly in the background of the TV broadcast. So that was pretty funny. And got to start out by giving a shout out to the Last Dive Bar. Brian and Paul and Rob, the friends of the pod, they all dressed up as classic WWE wrestlers. I think Brian was the Razor / the Laser. Paul was Mick Foley, and Rob showed up as the Nature Boy Ric Flair. They brought the Bash arms and their custom wrestling belts. Great stuff. Great stuff. They got a bunch of TV time. They were looking good. They were looking good out there, but the team was not looking so hot. They got shut out again. Daulton Jefferies made a great start, but he got no run support. He went 6 innings with 5 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 4 strikeouts. He had a nice bounce back after, well, he's pretty much had an up and down season. He started out great, 3 great starts, and he had 3 bad starts, but this was a great bounce back for him. And yeah, Elvis tried to knock down a ball in the 4th, but it led to an infield RBI. And then in the 5th inning, Jefferies gave up a solo shot to Velasquez. So he actually didn't pitch that bad, but the way the A's offense is struggling right now, that's 2 runs was too many. And after the game, he talked about he actually Jefferies made an adjustment before the game. He was talking to Paul Blackburn, and he realized that Paul's always in the stretch. So Jefferies is just took a page out of Blackburn's book and decided to go out of the stretch the whole game for the first time.
Yeah, I felt really good. I decided to go from the stretch all game, just talking to Paul. He goes from the stretch the whole time, so I just felt more controlled and kind of driving down the mound, where the windup, maybe my momentum, my energy was kind of inconsistent. So I just try to be as consistent as possible and just attack guys. Murphy did a great job. We were on the same page pretty much the whole time, so that was good.
I don't know if you guys can hear, but my dog's here barking. Hold on a second. Gotta calm down, Coco. All right. Sorry about that. I'm watching my mom's dog right now. She's a little crazy, but she's a beauty. Hey, Coco. Anyways, so yeah, I've seen Daulton Jefferies and Paul Blackburn kind of sitting next to each other in the dugout throughout this year. So it's cool to see them kind of bouncing off each other and, getting advice from each other, giving each other advice. Jefferies, he also said he enjoyed facing the Angels. I mean, they have such a crazy lineup. Taylor Ward, Ohtani, Trout, Rendon, Jared Marsh, and Jared Walsh, excuse me. And here's what Jefferies had to say about, facing such a talented lineup like the Angels.
Why wouldn't you want to go against the best? That's what being a big leaguer is all about. It's what being major league is all about, and going out and competing and showing that, you can hold your ground against these guys. That gives me a lot of confidence going forward. And I hope that it gives confidence in Kotz and Emo as well.
I thought that was interesting at the end there. He said, I hope it gives confidence in Kotz as well. I think Jefferies realizes that he might be kind of competing for this 5th rotation spot right now as Cole Irvin comes back. Cole Irvin is expected to pitch for the Stockton Ports tonight in a rehab start Tuesday night. So he could be back, in a week or two. And right now, I think it's kind of a competition between Daulton Jefferies, Zach Logue. I think James Camprillion probably has a longer leash. Adrian Martinez is already back down in AAA after his impressive start in Detroit. But Logue went 4 1/3 last night. But I think right now it's Camprillion, or I think it's Logue and Daulton are kind of competing to hold on to their rotation spot when Irvin comes back. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. But in this 2-0 game on Friday night, the A's were just completely shut down by a young 21-year-old named Chase Silseth. He's actually the first player from the 2021 draft class to make his MLB debut. He looked really aggressive. He really looked comfortable up there. He's from the University of Arizona. Boo! Go Sun Devils. But he went 6 innings. He only gave up 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Looked like an absolute veteran who had been there before. So he had a good start, and the Angels got some pitching this year. I think they're 3rd in the American League in ERA right now. So they're starting to finally put it together, looking like a really good team. And in this game, Ramon also announced his presence. Ramon Laureano announced his presence with 2 early defensive plays. He had a sliding grab. He also had a throw that prevented Tyler Wade going from second base to third base. So, yeah, honestly, now that Tyler Wade is on the team, it's kind of hard to keep track of all these players on the Angels. I have like the same name. It's Tyler Wade. There's Taylor Ward. There's Jared Walsh. Brandon. Even Brandon Marsh kind of gets stuck in there because Marsh and Walsh are kind of similar to me. So it's like all 4 of those guys are confusing. But Tyler Wade, he's a nice little utility player, second baseman, outfielder. But the A's was super quiet on Friday. They only got 2 singles from Elvis Andrus and 2 walks. That was it. Everybody else went hitless. But the bullpen was pretty solid after Jefferies got out of there. Kirby Snead, Lou Trevino, and Sam Moll each had scoreless innings. And also, Lou Trevino recorded his first and only 1-2-3 inning in his 10th appearance of the year. So, yeah, I think, yeah, as long as he's not in a high leverage situation, I think he does fine. But that was his first 1-2-3 inning of the year so far. And this is what Mark Kotze had to say about Lou after the game.
We continue to try to utilize their best matchups. I was real happy with the way Lou threw the ball there in the 8th inning. That was a little bit of the old Lou.
So Lou's ERA after the series is still 8.59, but he's given up 1 run in his last 5 appearances, including 3 innings. So, I think he's coming back on track. But this was just an absolute stinker. 2 hits, 2 singles. The A's lose 2-0. But they bash at the dive bar though. Shout out to the dudes at the dive bar having fun wrestling. Ric Flair, woo, H boy. Anyways, then the A's played a double. The A's and the Angels, they played a double header on Saturday. This was the game that salvaged the series for the A's. Once again, Paul Blackburn had a great start. He went 6 2/3, gave up a run on 5 hits, 2 walks, and struck out 3. And Sam Moll gave up his first run of the season. Zach Jackson also pitched as well. And the only run early on was a Jed RBI single. And yeah, they looked like they were just really doomed. It was 3-1 heading into the 9th. Also, Ramon Laureano. I call Ramon Laureano Ramon Hernandez, or at least once an episode. But anyways, Ramon Laureano also had another great defensive game. I think he's really announcing himself. He had three solid catches, and Christian Pache had 2 walks. But and that's pretty big time. I mean, he only has 8 walks and 187 plate appearances for his career. So he had 2 walks in the same game for the first time in his career. I thought that was pretty impressive. And, the A's really looked like they were doomed in heading into the 9th inning. They were at one point, they were even just 1 strike away from the end of the game. Ramon Laureano was down 0-2 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. But then he stuck with it. And on the 7th pitch of the at-bat, he hit a double to the right field gap to keep the inning alive in the 9th. Then Christian Bethancourt came in and he drew a walk. That was a great AB. And Luis Barrera came up with 2 runners on. The A's were trailing 3-1 in the 9th. And no way in hell did I think that Barrera would hit a dinger, but yes, he did. He snuck one out to right field. It was the first career dinger for him. And it must have felt so good because he was having a rough couple of innings after coming in as a pinch runner. He came in as a pinch runner for Jed Lowry in the 7th inning and pretty much immediately got doubled up to end the inning, which probably did not feel good. Then in the 8th inning, he was out in left field. He bobbled the ball and allowed the Angels to score a 3rd run to push their lead to 3-1. So he only played 2 innings, had 2 bad mistakes, but then he comes in the 9th, hits the dinger, first walk-off for the A's this season. First dinger of Barrera's career. Did not see that coming at all. Here's what Mark Kotze had to say about the walk-off afterwards.
Interesting game for Barrera, but obviously, the mistakes he made, I'm sure he wanted that at bat. Wouldn't have got there without the 2 in front of him with Laureano and Bethancourt. Bethancourt's at bat was awesome. Just to get Barrera back up there, give him a chance to redeem himself, and he put a great swing on that pitch, and I think he knew it right when he hit it. So good feeling.
Yeah, so Barrera, good for him, because about a month ago on April 11th, he was actually designated for assignment, and he was out of baseball for about 4 or 5 days as he cleared waivers. But once he did, the A's outrighted him back to AAA. And through a translator, Barrera described what it was like, to get DFA'd and then come back and have this moment, hit his first career dinger about a month later.
So it was devastating when I got the news that I was DFA'd. I got the news, it was Sunday, and I didn't get to play for at least 5 games or 5 days straight. And the person who really picked me up was my wife. My wife gave me a lot of encouragement told me that this is not the end of the road. You got to keep pushing. And thank God I'm in a situation where, it finally happened for me.
Yeah, so Barrera made it happen. I mean, he's pretty much just like a singles hitter, doesn't have much power, never expect a lot of slugging out of him. Great defender. Him and Pache and Ramon were running around. That was kind of cool to see. That was pretty much one of the best defensive outfields you could put together, and they were looking good. Lou Chirito was happy too. He only threw 4 pitches that afternoon. He got 1 out, but he also got 1 victory. But this was also the beginning of when the A's started to run into a bunch of double plays. They only had 5 hits this game and 3 double plays. But hey, they got the win, the 4-3 victory, thanks to Luis Barrera. And again, they only scored 6 runs the whole 4-game series, and 3 of them happened on 1 swing. So, and that swing was the only victory they had. So basically, that's without that swing, they could have got swept and scored 3 runs in the whole series. So props to Luis Barrera for salvaging a little something for the A's there. Then so that was a 1:00 game. Then at 6:40, they had another doubleheader. So long day of baseball Saturday at the Coliseum. And the good times lasted for precisely 1 more inning. Adam Oller was called up as the 27th man to make his 4th start of the year. Jed Lowry hit into a double play, one of his 2 in the game, to score the A's first run in the bottom of the 1st. Then it was all Angels. In the top of the 2nd, Oller walked home Taylor Ward. Walked home a run, excuse me. Oller walked home a run, and then Taylor Ward hit a grand slam, and it was essentially over at that point. And I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, the lineup, the first 5 batters that the Angels are trotting out there. I mean, half their lineup, it's Ward, Ohtani, Trout, Rendon, and then Walsh. I don't know if you can do much better than that. So after the 2nd inning, after Oller gave up that dinger, it looked like somebody, I think it might have been Kolarek, might have been Stephen Vogt. They panned to Stephen Vogt afterwards, but I don't think it was Vogt. His back was to the camera, but somebody went over to Oller and gave him a little talk on the bench, a little pick me up kind of deal, because it looks like he was down there. But because Oller was up earlier this year, he's trying to prove himself. He made his debut earlier this year, but he's trying to prove himself that he's a big leaguer, but he kind of got knocked around. And Taylor Ward, though, he really is bursting onto the scene this year, putting up some ridiculous numbers. And I have a funny Taylor Ward story from 2019. It was August 23rd, 2019. I went back and looked the box score. It was a fireworks Friday. I was up there with some friends for a bachelor party. I was up in Reno, and he was playing for the Salt Lake Bees at that point. It was the AAA affiliate of the Angels. We're at the Reno Aces. I forget who their affiliate. I think the Diamondbacks affiliate maybe. But anyways, we're watching a game at the Reno Stadium. It's really cool, beautiful summer day. And Ward was in right field, and a bunch of Giants fans. I went with a bunch of Giants fans for a bachelor party, and they started chanting, "What's the matter with Taylor? He's a failure." So, anytime I see Taylor Ward now, that chant goes through my head. But that was a great game, by the way, Reno. Like literally, as soon as we sat down on the berm in right field, Blake Swihart hit a home run right to us. We gave it to the bachelor boy. We all signed it at his wedding. It was like the 1927 Yankees ball Sandlot, but better, So that was a good time. Anyway, that's my Taylor Ward story. He's good at baseball. But and also I was at the bachelor's, he's married now, but I was at his house this weekend and I didn't see that ball signed anywhere on no mantle or nothing. So great. All right. Anyway, back to baseball. On this game 2 on Saturday, of course, when the A's got wiped 9-1. In the 3rd inning, the A's helmet, bro. I don't know if you've seen this guy. He walks around with this fireman's hat, and he's like glued all these bobbleheads, A's memorabilia. He's like a walking museum on top of his head. But anyways, in the 3rd inning, Ohtani sprayed a foul ball down the third base line, and A's helmet, bro, got it. So that was really funny. Dallas Braden had a kick out of it. He saw that the Braden perfect game bobblehead was fixed the top of his head. That was hilarious. Good times. Looks like they have a fun little crew down there in the left field line with the Vanilla Gorilla dude always dancing. So, yeah, shout out to that little crew that's developing down the left field line. And Yeah. Anyways, back to baseball. Aller, his job on Saturday was basically just to get outs, just to get through the innings. He was able to get through five, but not before getting tagged pretty hard by Ward, who hit a double, and then Trout hit a double, and then Otani hit a 2-run dinger in the fifth. But the A's are trying to preserve arms. So even after Otani hit his 2-run dinger, um, Aller had to stay out there for 3 more outs. So, but he did, and he got it. He got through 5, and that's all the A's needed. They just needed outs. And I don't think he's quite ready yet to contribute to the big league club, especially with the emergence of guys like Adrian Martinez, who's still in AAA, and Zach Logue, who's looked really good. He's still in Oakland. Irvin's coming back, like I said, in a week or two. So I think Aller has kind of fallen back down the totem pole, but you never know. Opportunities like these could pop up again. And Mark Kotze talked about what he wants to see from Aller when he goes back down to Vegas.
I think you look at his history last year. He didn't have command issues, and for whatever reason, right now he's struggling with that. I think there's maybe a bit of lack of confidence for him. You got to the big leagues, and it just hasn't been easy, obviously. And when you don't have success here as a younger player, I think you put more pressure on yourself, and you begin to press, and I think we're seeing a little bit of that with him right now. So hopefully he'll go back to Vegas and focus on getting that confidence back, and being able to command his fastball up and down in his zone.
Yeah, for Otani, the homer that he hit against Aller. So, anyways, yeah, Aller. I think he might be back at some point, but I don't think he's ready quite yet. I believe he's 27 years old, so yeah, he's still got to work on it a little bit. But Otani, for him, that marked his 100th career homer. He's the only third Japanese player to do that besides Hideki Matsui and Ichiro. And afterwards, the camera crews caught the authenticators going down the steps in left field, and they must have crept behind the fence behind left field to find the ball, and they found it. They authenticated it. They put it in a glass case. They brought it back up to the press box, and all the Japanese media was taking photos of it. The Angels broadcast booth brought it up to the broadcast booth. They were talking about it. So cool moment there. Very cool moment. And from there, after Aller gave up his 8 runs, they got 2 innings from Justin Grimm and 2 innings from Adam Kolarek. Justin Grimm's definitely a low leverage guy at this point. He's kind of a mop up duty plus game when they're down by a few runs, just get you through the game. And then Adam Kolarek's actually having a pretty solid bounce back year for the A's. I thought he was really done after last year. He really struggled last year. The A's picked him up before the 2021 season. He had a great 2020 with the Dodgers. The shortened 60 game season, he appeared in 20 games and he had a 0.95 ERA. So I thought he would contribute to last year's bullpen, but he started off really slow with 8 ERA in 12 games with the A's. And he only had a 6.75 ERA in 37 appearances in Vegas. So I thought that his career, honestly, I was surprised if he would latch on with anybody, but the A's brought him back. And after this appearance, it was his 6th straight appearance without giving up a run. He went 2 innings. So he's kind of figuring it out. I mean, he's got I think a 3.0 ERA right now, or 3. He gave up another run recently, but yeah, he's fine. He's kind of serviceable. He's another southpaw. They just have a lot of southpaws in their bullpen. They got AJ Puck, who's having a fantastic year. Sam Moll's having a good year. Kirby Snead is kind of still high on him, even though he's had a couple rocky outings. And then Zach Lowe could find himself back in the bullpen, honestly, when Irvin is back in a week or two. So, yeah, Cole Irvin, again, he's on track to start Tuesday night, a week or two. So, yeah, the A's just had a first inning run, and then that was it. Again, the offense is just really slacking, and the story for the day was really double plays. In the second game, they hit 4 double plays. They had 7 double plays for the entire day. That's pretty rough, pretty tough to overcome when you're just hitting dingers left and right. Double plays left and right. So A's lost 9-1 to wrap up a long day of baseball on Saturday. And then the series wrapped up on Sunday. Like I said, I was here. I was mad that I missed Otani's dinger because he absolutely crushed this ball. But the bratwurst was really good at Broadside Local, and the views are nice, so I highly recommend that place. But yeah, I saw a replay of Otani's homer, and he just crushed it to dead center, and it was cool. It looks like a fan was holding his. There was an Angels fan holding his cell phone with one hand, and then he caught the ball with the other. So I would love to see that video. I mean, how rare is that you're holding it and you catch a dinger? And it's Otani to dead center. Pretty cool. And I don't know. There's just something so clean and there's something so cool about Otani's swing when he makes contact. It was super loud. It was 108 off the bat. And I guess the best way I could describe it is like his swing is graceful and violent at the same time. Like it just snaps, and it's like everything snaps at the perfect time, right when the ball hits the bat. And he just makes like the perfect explosion off his bat. And it's fun to watch Otani. But damn, I wasn't there in person, so I didn't even see it. But yeah, this was a cool game. I was kind of moving around. I pretty much watched the second half of the game in the bleachers in the right field. And at one point, this Angels fan with a jersey that said Mini Tani on it, he came out there with a little GoPro, and I was talking to him. He said he's following Otani for all 162 games this year. So I was looking at his YouTube channel. I'll put it on here somewhere. It's called Teriyaki Times. And he already has over 17 million views on YouTube. So I got to figure out how that guy's doing. Just follow Otani around, do the Shohei Otani of blog podcast. Sorry, Ricky. No, never. I could never do that. But anyway, so yeah, first inning, 2-run shot. The A's ended up losing 4-1. Again, the offense was slacking. But Frankie was absolutely dealing in this game. He had 12 strikeouts in 6 innings. 6 of them came on his 4-seam fastball, 3 on the splitter, 2 on the sinker, 1 on the slider. So, yeah, his 4-seamer was really working. And so, yeah, 12 strikeouts, 6 innings. And he's got a 3.67 ERA this year, 53 strikeouts, 13 walks. And after this series, entering play Monday, he was actually leading baseball with 49 innings pitched. So the A's are not looking good. Frankie is looking good. 2023 is the final year of his arbitration. I think, honestly, he might be headed towards a trade this either at this deadline or next offseason, because he's due for a fat raise next year too. He'll probably get back in. I mean, if he's making $5 million this year, he'll probably make like 8 or 9, I would think, next year. I don't know if he keeps this up. So anyways, Frankie talked about what was working for him. And for him, it was really, he's known for his splitter, but I think, if people are looking for that, they're in trouble too, because he's just pumping in like 94, 95 and throwing in darts. So here he was talking about his outing and what was working for him.
I feel like guys are like thinking about my splitter, not to get to the splitter, and I also forgot that like my fastball is not like it's not that bad, and it's just I feel like it's tough for hitters when you have to worry about 2+ pitches.
So yeah, gotta love it. Frankie's like, hey, my fastball's not that bad, I throw 95 too, bro. But yeah, so I think he is definitely the prime trade candidate to watch. I also think Sean Murphy might be, especially if Shane Langoliers keeps it going. But I would keep Murph around. But I think Frankie is much more realistic option. I wouldn't be surprised if he's traded at some point before the deadline. But anyways, let's deal with that later. For now, he's still on the A's. We've had enough trades to talk about. And once again, the A's offense was abysmal in this game. Sean Murphy's RBI groundout in the third was their only run. It was set up by Chad Pinder's sac bunt. The A's are just trying anything at this point. Pinder, had a sac bunt to move Lowry to third. He eventually scored on Murphy's thing. But it was funny on that sac bunt. The pitcher, Patrick Sandoval, kind of gave Pinder a hard tag, and Pinder did not like it. He was like, come on, babe, I got to tag me so hard in the chest. So that was kind of funny. But anyways, Pinder also had a ground rule dub in the 8th inning, but that was literally the only hit the rest of the way. The A's had a really big missed opportunity in the 5th inning when Sean Murphy came up with runners on second and third, but he struck out to end the inning. And then, that Pinder's double in the 8th was that was it the rest of the year. Another sloppy day of defense. Elvis committed his 6th error of the year. Tony Kemp committed his 4th error of the year, 2nd straight game. And Yeah, the Angels tacked on one more in the 8th, one more in the 9th, and that was it. But it was a perfect day at the bleachers. The A's lost 4-1. In the 9th inning, they were playing the drums. It was do 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 do, and then the bleachers get Ward, you suck. I mean, that's what they always do. But it was funny to see that. And then Ward was kind of bobbing his head, and then I'm pretty sure he caught the final out, and that was the series. So the A's lost 4-1, but it was still really fun vibes. There's a lot of Angels fans there. I think a lot of people there to cheer on Ohtani, but it was still really fun vibes, and yeah, good times at the Coliseum. So the A's, they went 1-3. They are struggling, and the Angels are very, very good. After this series, Taylor Ward had a 266 OPS plus, which is absurd. 100 is an average, so he's like 3 times better than the average hitter almost. Hitting 385, 500 on base, 747 slugging, 8 homers, 22 RBIs. And for comparison, Trout's having an amazing year, but his OPS is 220. So Ward's is 266, Trout's 220. Trout's having a fantastic year. He's hitting 312, 432 on base, 661 slugging, 9 homers, 20 RBIs. Ohtani has 8 homers. He got a 132 OPS. He's also got 6 starts this year, 2.78 ERA, 46 strikeouts in 32 innings. So Ohtani's having a great year. Then, Marsh, Rendon, and Walsh all have OPS of at least 110. That lineup is stacked, and they're 3rd in ERA. So the Angels are definitely a force to be reckoned with this year. Would not be surprised if they won the West, but got to hold it together. I think Noah Syndergaard kind of got lit up his most recent start. So still got to figure out pitching, but Chase Silseth, he looked really good. 11th round pick last year, already contributing. So yeah, that guy's a champion. The A's, meanwhile, they only have 2 hitters, only 2 over 250 right now. Sheldon Noisy, who's dealing with some groin tightness. He actually sat out Sunday's finale and Monday's game. So he sat out the past couple games with groin tightness. He is hitting 281. Chad Pinder's hitting 253, and literally everybody else is hitting under 250. They only have 2 hitters with over 100 OPS. Again, 100 is average. OPS plus. Again, 100 is average. Noisy's got a 125. Pinder's right at 100. And then, yeah, it's rough. I mean, the batting averages are really rough right now. Pache's batting 157. Seth Brown, 158. Kevin Smith, 188. Murphy, 192. I mean, yeah, the Mendoza line is like the watermark, literally. As a team, the A's are hitting 200. It's the worst in American League. They're 270 on base, 309 collective slugging, and their collective 579 OPS is the worst in American League. The only thing that's really saving them, that they're 12th in homers, but they're first in multi-run homers. 9 of their 22 have come with runners on base, so at least they're hitting dingers with runners on base. But they have really, really slowed down in May. After this, through the first 16 games in May, they only have 4 homers. They're hitting 184 as a team in May, 261 on base, 257 slugging. I mean, that's just brutal. 257 slugging is really brutal for 16 games for a team. They just cannot get extra base hits. It's just slim pickings right now. And the series was pretty rough. A lot of offers. Murphy went 0 for 13. Noisy went 0 for 11. Seth Brown 0 for 8. Kevin Smith went 0 for 7. Pache went 0 for 6. I mean, it's rough to do anything. A lot of offers. I mean, combined, that's, 0 for 45 between those 5 guys. So not great. Noisy's dealing with groin tightness. Also, Tony Kemp got plunked in the right ribs on Sunday, but he stayed in the game. So, rough series. A's lose 3 out of 4, but still got to hand out awards. Every series I'm going to hand out awards. And for the Ricky Henderson of MVP awards for the series for the A's, I got to give out Luis Barrera. I mean, his walk-off really saved the series, salvaged anything from the series. Could have been really ugly. So props for Barrera sticking with it after getting DFA'd. The Cy Young for this series, got to go with Frankie for striking out 12 batters. He looked pretty dominant. I mean, Blackburn also pitched well. But, yeah, Frankie, 12. Could be out of here soon. And rookie of the year of the series. Not too much to pick here, but I went with Pache. I mean, I know he's kind of Pache. I know he's kind of struggling at the plate, but he did have 3 walks and 10 plate appearances, which I think is really big. I mean, he's really got to have a more discerning eye. I think that's the thing that's really holding him back. I mean, he just kind of got to make contact. I mean, he's struggling. I mean, Kotze's talking about how he's encouraged by what he sees from Pache, but yeah, his bat just not looking great right now. So, but hey, 3 walks and 10 appearances. We got to do something. So, and the green and gold glover, I got to go with Ramon Hernandez. Or I did it again, Ramon Laureano. Jesus Christ. He's really asserting himself, making a lot of great catches, throws, and people just kind of know he's out there. He's kind of controlling or affecting the game. I won't say controlling, but affecting the game from out there in right field. So after all that, the A's are 15-22. They're still in last place in the AL West after this series. The Angels, meanwhile, they're 24-13. They moved into a tie with the Astros at 23-12. Technically, the Angels are behind by percentage points, but they're pretty much the same. And the A's are 2 back of Seattle at 16-19 and 1 game back of Texas at 14-19. So looking like Astros, Angels are going to be duking it out while the A's, Mariners, and Rangers are kind of struggling. Whew. Starting to get pretty rough here, guys. that Tigers series was some false hope. Maybe the Tigers are just awful. So the A's, like I said, they lost 3-1 on Monday against the Twins to start that series. They're now 0-4. So Logue started last night's games. We went 4 1/3. But tonight it will be James Caprillion versus Dylan Bundy. And then for tomorrow's getaway day matinee, it'll be Daulton Jefferies versus Sonny Gray. And it was funny. Martin Gallegos has like some side-by-side foot. A lot of people think Daulton and Sonny look alike. So Martin Gallegos even asked Daulton, like, yo, do you think you look like Sonny? And he said he did. So, hey, Daulton Jefferies thinks he looks like Sonny Gray. So they'll be pitching against each other on Wednesday. Cool to see Sonny back in Oakland. Still beloved here in the Bay. And yeah, that's it. I think that'll wrap it up for this series recap. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at RickyBlog. Got some really cool stuff coming up once the Warriors are done. And yeah, I also want to do one of these from the parking lot one day. So stay tuned. Maybe one of these Sunday series. But I don't got nothing going on. I'll set up a tailgate and we can do some live reaction from Lot A. So thank you so much. I'm your host, Alex Espinoza. Thanks for listening to the Ricky Henderson of Blogs. The greatest of all, the Ricky Henderson of podcasts, the greatest of all podcasts, GOAP. Make sure to give us 5 stars, download, like, subscribe, all that. Thank you very much. And we will be back for, I believe, on Thursday with a series recap of the Twins. All right, take care.